good? You're good? Check, 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 check. Good morning. I said good morning. Excellent. Welcome. I am glad you're here. I'm thrilled. It's been way too long since I've got to see you, and probably way too long since you've got to see me. I've changed some things up. We have a full agenda. There's a lot for me to get through if I'm going to get through it in an hour. Now, if you give me 2, we're going to be fine. No? No? All right. So I'm going to talk fast. If this is your first visit, I just want to remind you, I took that slide out. I believe I took that slide out in regards to the village alert line. We're in hurricane season. As you know, Erin is out there. She is expected to miss us. That being said, please make sure you don't unsubscribe to the village alert line, because we send updates, we give updates. We are a shelter in place community. What does that mean to you? That unless the federal government comes in and tells us we need to relocate, this is where we stay during a storm. We've had great success over numerous years with that policy. And while we know that that will result in us losing power in some of our independent living, as far as healthcare goes, specifically Majestic Oaks and Oakview Suites, those are powered 100% by generator. So the residents, our most vulnerable residents, will be safe because they will have access to all the services that they need. It's been so long, I don't even remember how to do this. Occupancy. Now see, remember I beat you up on a couple of things in regards to Village Alert. I took it out, but I wanted to do my 2-minute commercial for that. Independent living, this is as of the first part of August, 484 out of 520 for a 93.1 for independent living. The cottages break down at 96.2. Apartments are at 75% occupancy. In fact, I believe right now they're actually a little bit higher than that. In villas, 97.9. You see the additional deposits. So while you may see, hey Joe, the villas, there are 3 open villas. Those villas, people already have a deposit on and are waiting to move in. It's the same thing with apartments. There are 4, and overall cottages are 9. So total, we have 16 deposits. And then Oakview Suites, 43 out of 49 for 87.8. Majestic Oaks, 122 out of 135. Remember, we have 15 beds at Majestic Oaks out of service because we are doing hallway renovations, and we're going to get into that. Hopefully we're coming to the end. I'm just going to say the last quarter of that project, and we'll be thrilled that that's over with. Sales and marketing, this is just kind of an update from the month of July. This gives you kind of totals. The things that really you want to look at is that year-to-date sales are 35, 17. So just almost half the buyers got a 10% military discount. And then move-ins was 29, wait list we have 53, July sales were 2, and July move-ins were 4. And before you ask me, Joe, what are you going to do with those units down on Floribunda? Again, I'm going to tell you we're going to remove those eventually and just kind of make that a green setting for now. We don't plan on doing anything big in regards to that. So those units are out of service right now, and they'll remain out of service. Red Cap. Everybody know what the Red Cap program is? I can go faster if you tell me yes. Okay. It's resident for people that are new resident emergency documents. It's a round tube. It's got red caps on each end. We put your emergency documents in there. We ask you to stick it in your refrigerator. Why? We have instructed emergency technicians, EMTs, that come and may need to take care of you to look in your refrigerator for them. In fact, you should have a sticker, a magnetic sticker that goes on the outside. So if that's new to you and you don't have a red tube, call Vicki Stein. Resident authorization forms, we've gone through this a lot. We like to recycle this because what frequently happens is that somebody needs access to your unit, they're not on the authorization form. You cannot put 5 people on one authorization form, we won't accept it. Each person you authorize to have access to your unit needs a separate authorization form. Why? Because we don't want to get into the battles that you may have within your family and try to play referee. Don't ask us to do it because I'm the final judge. And you know who I'm going to rule on? You. If their name wasn't on the list, you had a reason why their name wasn't on the list. So please don't put us in that position. If you want people to have access to your particular unit, fill out an authorization form. One form, one name. Fair enough? We've gotten this, we've heard some people have heard this. I get these at home too about the home warranty scan, about your automobile warranty is coming out of service. My car is 10 years old and my warranty is going to come out of service. It's been out of warranty for a while. But please, there is no need to sign up for a home warranty. All they want to do is they want to get you on the phone. They want you to pay some money. You don't have that to worry about because that's why you're here. Any appliances, anything that goes, it's wrong in your particular unit, let us know. We will take care of it. Okay? Voice messaging. For those who use voice messaging service, we'd like to remind everyone the importance of checking and clearing out. It has become pretty much a standard practice. We'll call you, and 1, your mailbox has not been set up. 2, you can't leave a message because your mailbox is full. But you called us in an emergency panic, and we're calling you back, and we can't leave a message. So please, if you have voicemail boxes, whether it's at home, it's on your cell phone, please check and please clear those out. Resident directory is monthly updates are available at the resident services desk. Updates are also accessible in the resident portal. And everybody knows where Tina's located, right? She's down at Oak Park now. Why is she down at Oak Park before you beat me up? Joe, you said you know. What I said was I'd leave her there as long as I possibly can. I have an administrative assistant that has 40 years of service in. 40 years. Yeah. So April next year sometime is her 40th year. So we're going to have a big shindig. 40 years of working for John Knox. That is the longest anyone on record has worked for John Knox. She does a phenomenal job, yet, can you believe it? She wants to retire. I can't believe it. I bought as much time from her as I possibly can, but she wants to retire. So, as part of our succession planning, Tina is the one we have slated to take over Vicky's job. They need to be close in proximity. Now, down where Tina was is Jackie Martinez, and she is going to, if you have informational needs, she can provide that information, and she'll give you the best she possibly can. You are welcome to come down to Oak Park and visit Tina. She's going to kill me. No, but you're still welcome to go down and visit Tina. She would love to see your faces. Just drop by periodically if you'd like, if you want to see her. But she's down at Oak Park, and boy, that's a quiet building. All right, update on accounting. I'm going to start going a little bit faster through this. Our retirement, we do an audit on our retirement plan. That's in process. Majestic Oaks Medicare provider validation is in progress. OIR, if you didn't know, we had in June, we got notification that we are now in a triannual audit. After last year, we completed a triple triannual audit, a 9-year audit. They're doing a triannual audit 22 through 24. We have submitted our stuff, the stuff they've requested, and we will be reaching out to them and ask them to provide us some feedback. and ask them rather quickly to provide us some feedback. And I will drop some little bombs as I go through this presentation. And the CFO is going to be out on a leave, and she leaves on the 12th of September. I'm going to guess 4 to 6 weeks. She's going to be out. So that kind of puts me handicapped a little bit. And we're going to try to push to get as much of this done by the 12th of September. OIR second quarter report has been completed and submitted. FEMA, we're still in the process. You've heard that how many months now? I'm getting tired of saying it. 990 for 2024 is, they had asked for an extension and they received the extension, so that's in process. For those, this is other just information in regards to CMS. Everybody knows what CMS is, Centers for Medicare Medicaid Services. We are required to submit our payroll electronically to them in order for them to figure out our staffing and our 5-star, where we sit in a 5-star program for Majestic Oaks. We can't just send it to them. It has to be our electronic files. They have to be downloaded to them. So it's important that we get that downloaded to them in a timely manner. And then, if you didn't know, there was a board meeting last night, and the board voted on the increase in monthly service fees. How's that for a teaser? We'll share the increase in monthly service, the proposed increase in monthly service fees in September at the quarterly. This is just Elvira. If you didn't know, Elvira received her doctorate in business with a focus in human resources. So occasionally what she likes to do to me is she likes to, what I refer to as geek out. And so she does a lot of these little things, just talk about some of the career fairs. The one thing I want to really focus on in this particular area is the number of hires. You'll see that there's been 126 hires so far this year. You can see employees who received a scholarship for this fall. And you can see that Daytona State should love us. These are people, now, just so you understand, the scholarship program is not handled any time by management. It goes to the board, they put together a committee, they vote. You can't vote either because there would be a conflict of interest there. So they vote, and so far, of everybody who has applied, they have given out 100% of the scholarships of people who have applied. So that's a pretty significant number. And so I do also know that so far this year, we have raised $25,850. You probably saw a resident council report. We hit the 10,000 mark, and we received a $10,000 matching contribution that we talked about, that we were going to in April. If you attended the meeting, that triggered the match of 10,000. That person chooses to remain anonymous, and we're putting the money to good use. These are all the employees and what they're studying. Anywhere, and there is no requirement. There's cosmetology all the way to healthcare administration, doctorate level. All right, this is just, I'm going to run through these pretty quick. You'll see that there is from a year ago, January to June of 24 to January, June of 25, we've grown by 27 employees. We've annualized our turnover for the same period of time, and you can kind of see the numbers. You can see where annual retention has gone down slightly. That's, I'll call it statistically neutral. We've averaged a headcount of 27 employees. It's a 4.7% growth. Turnover decreased from 11.6 to 10.9. Retention dips slightly, and retention rate above 85% is considered strong in senior living communities, and ours remains significantly higher than the industry average. What does that tell you? The plans that we put in place a few years ago to address this are working and working well. One of them was a full-day orientation for all new employees. And we also do what we refer to as stay interviews with employees. We do 60 30, 60, 90-day interviews to see how they're doing and if there's anything we need to change. So the HR team and the directors get a lot of credit for affecting these numbers. All right, this just kind of explains a little bit more of what we were doing what we're doing. I'm not going to go into a great, just as our position in the Central Florida market remains strong, and we work very hard to keep it there. You'll notice that some of the critical areas, security, housekeeping, laundry, maintenance, grounds, transportation departments experience turnover increases. Did you look at what the policies we've put in place for healthcare? We're going to now put in place for healthcare and dining. We'll put in place for these departments also. Clinical services, we set a record. Yay. 58 of your neighbors used outpatient therapy. Now, was it or was it not a good idea to move that down where we put it? 58 people, those are good numbers. 23 new residents joined the therapy programs, and most therapy visits are for physical therapy. One thing I want to make sure that I explain, we are different. We've shopped our competition. We are different than most of our competition, if not all of them. Any therapy programs that they have on their campus are run by an outside therapy company. That means they contract for their therapy on their campus. All of our therapists, 100% of our therapists, are our employees. And, you know, there are some struggles, there's some good and there's some bad with that. We think the good outweighs the bad, is why we go through it. And we have seen a significant jump in therapy wages. Just kind of there's a heads up. But 58 people of your neighbors used outpatient therapy last month, which is July. We're expanding therapy services, particularly in occupational and speech, aquatherapy, lymphedema treatments, and pain modalities. That is one of the things that we have heard most. I know as I age, things hurt a little bit more. And I'm no different than anybody else. So we're moving in that direction to be able to improve on that. Increasing your own mobility is our focus. We have talked about this numerous times. I've done this. I have been in this field, and I have watched people age for better than 40 years. There's two ways people go. One is the crash and burn. One is they go down the slow slope. The more you move, the healthier you will be. Period, end of story. I don't care how you move. But if you're walking, you're moving your arms, you're exercising, you don't have to lift weights. You don't have to do resistance training. Resistance training is significant and helps incredibly, but just walking helps. The more you walk, the better your balance is. The less you walk, the bigger decline in your balance you will experience. So, what do I want you to do? Move. Movement, it's great. Again, and you'll hear me say this probably for the 10,000th time, I don't want to see you down at Majestic Oaks. You don't want to be there. I don't want you there any more than you want to be there. Fair enough? So, help me help you. Home health. We were able to convince the board to do a pilot program, and in July we made 225 visits on 27, this is skilled, I'm jumping ahead of myself. We had 225 visits on 27 residents, helping you stay active and independent. Here's the theme. Physical therapy is our busiest service. Nursing visits continue to be strong, and nurses made 50 visits. Home health, 67 people, 67 residents we served through private home health program. 1,200 visits. I like this trend. This helps me help you. Our nursing team provided personalized care, including medication, health monitoring, and coordination with your physicians. We do extended care services, continues to grow. If you have questions how you may need to participate or would like to participate, reach out to the home health team. And then, you've seen this slide before. When we expanded our services in May, we got off to a good start, but home health aides we can provide for 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 24 hours. And we did this, we ended up getting about 3 or 4 24-hour cases, which has helped people stay in their home. And that's what they wanted until they could really make a strong decision on their care. They weren't under the gun saying, I've got to go to Majestic Oaks. They were able to go ahead and take their time and make a decision that fit them best. The clinic welcomed 19 new patients, but I would also like to point out they also saw 172 residents. Do you remember what it was in June? The only reason I remember this is because the numbers are inverted. It was 127 residents in June, 172 in July. Looks like the placement in the clinic was a good idea. It is there for you. Now, we have employees use it too, and employees do use it a lot also, but 172 resident visits. September is Healthy Aging, Wellness, Nutrition, and Diabetes. Did you know that nearly 30% of Americans age 65 and over have diabetes? Do you think that number holds true for John Knox Village? I'm thinking it probably does. But only 2% of the people attend the diabetes programming. And yet, if you could improve one thing about your health, if you were to improve and work on your diabetes and diabetes control, that would be the one thing that could significantly help. Things to think about. Digital monthly drop-in. The digital monthly drop-in we did in June was a big success, so we decided to increase the number of times to help promote your electronic technology intellect. So September 11th at 2 p.m. in the multi-purpose room at the Jacquez Clubhouse. Bring whatever you want, whatever questions you have. If you've got a new phone and you're not really sure how to use it, bring it. If you have a tablet, you have a laptop, the guys and some gals can help you show you what you can do to keep everything up to date, and so you don't get one of those scam calls and your computer is frozen because you've got a virus on your laptop. So we're going to try to do notice how it says monthly digital? So we're going to try to do it on a monthly basis, but that depends on participation. JKV Resources, the Coffee With is next Wednesday with Mr. DaCosta. It's at 9:30 right here, same time, same place. Upcoming support meetings, you can look at those. Memory impairment, caregiver is the 16th, grief is the 9th. If you have any questions about psychosocial support or resources, call Amanda Logan. I think her extension is 2707. Timeout Tuesday. Here's just a little bit more. This is an opportunity for caregiver relief and social wellness for a spouse. If you're a spouse who's a caregiver, please consider taking advantage of it. Coordinate and supervised through home health. It's ideal for residents requiring extra support. There's the cost breakdown. If you want to have a companion go, it's $28.50 for an hour. A home health aide is $33 for 2 hours. At the Timeout Tuesday is $20. Those funds go to the cost of go just to help pay for the program, the staffing time involved for the program. Operations. Want to welcome Dr. Christie as a new provider. They had an employee barbecue, joint commission. little overdue, but they eventually showed up about a week ago. 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. Showed up about 2 weeks ago. Kind of surprised us. They came in, did their 3-day survey, and they've left. Our understanding is we will be certified in the 3 areas at Majestic Oaks again. We, of course, with anything. The surveyor we had was a nightmare surveyor. Now I just call it somebody doing their job, but it put both the Majestic Oaks staff and administration through their paces, so it was good to see. COVID-19 cases, there are none at Majestic Oaks. There are renovations on the 700 hallway and second floor common areas have been completed. They've moved down to memory support, that's 3, 4, 5. They've moved a memory support unit up to 7 and 8. We want to remind you that to use the doorbell, and don't hold the door open for any resident coming through. Fair enough? Now, let me tell you, that's why it sounds silly. It's not. I think I've had it happen half a dozen times in my career where somebody holds the door open for a resident. They seem, right now, they're cognitively, they're doing very, very well. So you hold the door open and they're on memory support and they walk right out the building. And it happens. Now, staff don't know about it, that resident wasn't signed out, you don't think twice about it. What happens to us? We go from a 5-star to a 1-star, like that. Just that Sentinel event will cause us to lose 4 stars. And it has happened. It has happened to peers that we know that work at various communities. It's normally what they refer to as scope and severity of an IJ. Normally comes automatically with a fine, and you have to do what they refer to as abate the issue. So if it takes you 3, 4, 5 days to do all your corrective action, they will fine you for each day you were not in compliance. Now, the fines can escalate anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 a day. Just because somebody unknowingly lets somebody walk out the door because they, hey, no, I'm coming, hold the door. Don't hold the door. That's why it's also important that if you wear your name badge, if they don't have a name badge there, don't hold the door. Definitely don't hold the door. Fair enough? This is the project completion. They started 300 Hall. They expect to be done the first part of October. 400 is the end of November. 500 is the first part of January. And then we'll get our building back and we'll move up to 150 beds. Oakview Suites. Kind of the big thing that we have kind of going on at Oakview Suites is that we were able to expand. We had 1.5 people as activity people at Oakview Suites. We've moved that to 2 full-time people to provide better activities and more activities to residents and cover weekends for residents at Oakview Suites. Michael wanted to make sure you understood they finally received their recertification license from Agency for Healthcare Administration. Why is that kind of funny? We haven't technically had that license from them for 4 years. And then they're starting they have 2 pen pal programs, one with other assisted living communities across the United States, and then students at the YMCA summer camps. You know this better than I do. The themed meals. Chef's Cook-Off is September 24th. Taco Tuesday, September 16th. September 22nd is National White Chocolate Day. Here is the free entertainment. Resident Service, I think, has done a phenomenal job of expanding the free entertainment for residents. So we're thrilled about that, and we hope that you're taking advantage of it and enjoying it. Specialty coffee is now available at the Scoop. You can get espresso, cafe lattes, or cappuccinos. New Bay menu started on August 11th. A panini has been added to the bistro menu. And then lobster bisque and lobster salad have been added to JJ's menu each week. Campus services. A lot of movement going on. Resident Services Coordinator office has been moved to the director. So, Candace has been moved to Stan's office. Chaplain's office has been located here in the Barker Center to be more centralized for residents. When we moved people down to Oak Park, we decided we'd do some additional arrangements to better locate services for yourselves. So, Ray Bertrand is now here at the Barker Center. And he is in Michael's old office. Transportation is located here in Sandra's old office. I had to think there were second. Sandra's old office. We do expect the security is now where Candace is, so we have completely emptied a building down on the other side of campus and moved all those services more central for you. So security doesn't have to start all the way down there. They can start from the Barker Center and move. We just believe that was a better fit for you. And then I do know the bus has gone to be wrapped and should be here, I'm going to guess, in a few weeks. Campus security, we just discussed that. Speed limit, speed limit, speed limit. I get something either on Cubigo or I get an email every week about people speeding. Every single week. 15 miles an hour. Now, I can start moving the speed limit down if you'd like. Now, why is it at 15 miles an hour? For your safety. There are people that walk. Sometimes they walk slowly. Sometimes we have some corners that are blind corners and you can't always see. There are many, we don't have sidewalks on 100% of our areas. And you can say, well, that would help if we did have sidewalks. Yeah, that would help. But that's not what we currently have. So the speed limit is to protect the residents that are transferring on foot and to make sure other people are being safe. I have seen some of you drive. Taking your half out of the middle, not cool. And I see some people veer to the right before the trees on South Lake, and I always think they're going to end up hitting the trees. But please, 15 miles an hour. I know you're not the only ones. We're also addressing it with our staff. If you have that, you see that, I'm going to put it under, if you see something, say something. If my staff are doing that, you don't have to tell me their exact name. You just have to tell me where it happened and what time it happened. Fair enough? But I keep talking about it. They keep speeding. I keep talking about it. You keep speeding. So, do I need to put speed bumps in the community? Well, that's the alternative. Visitor badge policy has been implemented. Visitors are required to wear them while they're on campus. Please make sure they wear them. And visitors are still required to be accompanied by a hosting resident while on campus. Now, does your visitor have to be with you? No. If your visitor knows somebody else or is going with somebody else, it's fine as long as they are a resident. Residents who have not picked up their lanyards may still do so. Additional lanyards are available for purchase at the Scoop for $5. Director Facilities. The trimming of palms to remove the seed pods, they're in the process of doing that. There is sod replacement still and again. Landscaping turf. During the months of the year, our team does limited projects. I'm just going to cut to the short on this, if I may. We've looked at this very, very closely. We've monitored over the last year plus. And while we commend our grounds team for making a lot of changes and a lot of adjustments, it's not been enough. So one of the things that we have done, and we're going to start it effective Monday, we'll probably start it really effective Friday, is we've been authorized by the board to add 5 new full-time grounds people to our budget. When you add a position, one thing that you evaluate is you evaluate productivity. It's great that you add a position, but what are your current people? What level of productivity are they supplying? And grounds has worked very, very hard to do a lot of cool things. And they've made some adjustments, and it's not been enough. And since it's not been enough, we've asked for 5 new grounds people, which we will be making that, and that will be implemented by the end of the year. So we've listened to what you say. We appreciate your patience, and as we evaluate that, we just want to make sure now our job is to make sure that we have, so to speak, the right people in the right positions. So we will now be making adjustments there also. Storm preparations. We're going to the big thing is they've got 1,000 sandbags that are available. One of the things that we're in the process of doing is also plastic sheathing to protect areas. To seal kind of the doorway, we're going to put the sandbags, put the plastic sheathing in place, and then put the sandbags in place. This is kind of a July maintenance recap. Total work orders was 3,126. 84% were completed within 48 hours. And then this is their team focus. Reduce work order aging. Remember, there's 15+% that are still sitting out there that take a little longer, whether parts need to be ordered or other things need to be done, or it's just beyond our team's capability to do. We're working on increasing preventative maintenance, cross-training team members, and doing some basic reorganization and cleaning. Project update, Skate House 2. Bottom line there is we hope to have that done right now. If they can keep moving the way they are, should be done by the end of September. That's a tentative date. It's not a hard stop date. Don't come after me if it's September 30th and they're not 100% done. Majestic Oaks, you know about that already. Everybody who's supposed to be over in Oak Park building is now over in the Oak Park building. Administration is upstairs to the right. Accounting and HR is upstairs to the left. Pharmacy stayed right where they are. And marketing is downstairs on the right. Water mitigation. There's been a slow start. We've had to get started with marking utilities. We called the utility company to come out and do it, and then we hired our own person to come out and do it. And that's going to save us a lot of money because we would have hit a lot of lines. But that is, they're in the process of starting that. What I mean by the process, if they're locating lines and they're digging and finding the different cable lines. But they'll probably middle of next week, they'll start moving a lot more dirt and putting down drainage. Traffic, wow, look at that. Speed limit. If you didn't hear me the first time. Parking guidelines. The whole thing in regards to parking is now that administration is out of that area, we have greater occupancy in the apartments. We've gone ahead and we've started reserving spots for residents in the apartments that have cars. That's the whole idea. So while you're going to say, man, there's a lot of signs, and boy, that takes away the view. Well, yes, it does, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that everybody knows that that's a reserved spot for somebody. And then as we start working our way out, and we slowly have seen some improvement of employees being pushed out to the water treatment plant parking lot. So you'll see us continue to do that. Here's the handicap parking, we're reviewing that. Here's the problem with some of the handicap parking. Once we touch something with current no handicap, we have to meet what the current standard is. Where we have current handicap spots and the way our parking lots are angled, we cannot meet the requirement. We'd have to start building up areas that were almost platforms, which is going to make it even more difficult to drive on, because you're going to have to get up on a platform because it has to be more of a level surface. So we're trying to devise a way to better deal with that should we need to provide more handicap parking. But just think of the Citrus parking, I call it the Citrus parking lot, where the generator is. That is all sloped towards the building. There would be a lot of moving of earth just to level and create a correct handicap spot there. Not that we're beyond doing that, the cost benefit of being able to do that. And then all right, you may have heard that we had a unit that had smoke in it. You want to guess what it was from? An iPad overheating. Notice it wasn't an Android. It was plugged in and it just flat out overheated. Resident had a security plug on it, so it kicked it off, but once it reaches that temperature, it gets warm enough, it started to smoke and it destroyed the iPad. We want to remind you, don't leave any cordless, rechargeable things plugged in while you're gone, because you can never tell. This is one of those you can never tell when it's going to happen. While everybody's heard of stories of iPads melting down and starting on fire because somebody threw it on their dash in a sunny day. Well, now please don't leave them unattended. Employee appreciation. I've gotten this question a couple of times now in regards to employee appreciation in the one big beautiful bill. There are really no changes in the way that it's handled. What I plan on doing is reaching out to the Employee Appreciation Committee chair and sending some guidance. Please understand, employee appreciation is not tax deductible to you. It doesn't meet the requirements under IRS. And we are not involved, meaning management's not involved in that. It is a resident-driven issue and a resident process. Because of that, there's question on whether it can be considered a tip or it's a gift. And right now, while they don't have the final list of items that are going to go on that list, as far as what will be considered a tip, CCRCs aren't going to fall into that list. They're pretty confident it's not going to be. So it's considered a gift as taxable wages. So the employee has the responsibility to claim that as taxable wages. Fair enough? So we've kind of gone through it. We've asked for some guidance. That's the process in a nutshell. Fountain for the lake, the parts have been ordered, and they're going to be rebuilding some things. I don't have a final date for that, but I did sign off on the order for that just earlier this week. Shuffleboard courts, this was asked also. We expect those to be wrapped up by 8/29 at the latest. Cameras for pools and fitness. I was asked this question because I believe the healthcare committee from resident council wants to recommend cameras in place for the pool area and the fitness center. I am not an advocate. I think there is privacy, your privacy, and I think there's personal responsibility. Now, if you're going to swim and you're not feeling well, should you swim? No. If you're not feeling well and you have a workout, should you go work out? Probably not. Now, we can start doing all these wonderful things and putting all these things, but at some point, it's an intrusion. It reminds me of that song, and I just know the lyrics. I can't remember the song, but sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Clogging up the scenery, breaking my mind. That's what that reminds me of. We can do all these wonderful, wonderful things, but if they're wonderful, but who are they wonderful for? And did we put them with the right intentions? I am big on personal responsibility. I believe cameras invade that. If you're not feeling well, don't go swim. If you're concerned about you swimming, take somebody with you. Have them watch you swim. Have them read a book. Whatever it takes, there's personal responsibility there. That's our position. So will we put cameras by the pools and in the fitness center? No. You're right, we won't. Timeline for the pavilion. I know that's been torn apart for a while. We've had a lot of other things going on. I don't have one, but I would guess that we would have that done no later than November 1st, just in time for hurricane season. I was asked this question, residents getting access to HBO and Cinemax. I have resident counsel there because any changes in channels, any additions that you may want, sorry. We're going to ship that back to resident council and let them get some feedback on whether that is the right thing and whether the residents really want that. Just because we have a couple of people ask for it doesn't mean that everybody wants it. But that's the question that we received. Shredder box is frequently full. We've heard this for a while now. We have a couple of options. One, installing a couple of more shredder boxes, or increasing the frequency of shredding. Both sound like easy propositions, right? But what's the cost of that? And that's the issue. For what we would pay for the additional cost, we can buy a shredder and put a shredder someplace and you can shred your own stuff. Or we can maybe figure out. So we're going to work with resident council and kind of bang on what's a good opportunity. In the meantime, we may temporarily increase the frequency of shredding, or we may ask to put a new shredder box in place, which Michael Buxton is the one who normally takes care of that, so he's back there kind of wincing a little bit. Pool pump. Pool went down. It was the pool pump. It wasn't circulating chemicals. It wasn't safe to swim. So we're going to replace the motor. We expect the motor to be in tomorrow. That'll be installed by Friday. We need 1 day in which to balance the chemicals out. That will be Saturday, so we anticipate that pool will be back open on Sunday. And organizational changes. I want to tell you that it's not a case where we don't listen to you. It's a case where we try to make the right move and it's strategically made. Now, this next change, we talked just briefly about adding 5 grounds people to affect the changes in grounds. And while our meals, the satisfaction rating through survey stance is pretty good, I just want to take a moment to commend the job that Stan DaCosta has done as overseeing dining services. We have a number of things that are changing. With a new board, there are other things that need to change. Succession planning is important. We're a single site community. In other words, we grow our own talent. While we can go out and get talent, the issue being is that there isn't a management company on the face of the earth that wouldn't be happy to take over our community. Would it be easier? Yeah. But easier for who or whom? Definitely not for you. Definitely not for you. The culture that we have is culture that's been developed by residents and staff together. I love the culture here. We have somebody that comes in and takes over the management. By changing all the things they would want to change is going to change the culture. Changing systems and processes, implementing new things is going to change the culture. Employees will leave because they'll hone down on employee benefits and employee wages, and we're going to focus down on other areas to try to make the organization in their terms more profitable. Not a focus on the mission, but a focus on the margin. As we do that, I know I have a limited number of years I want to work. That said, that means I need to work a lot more actively, making sure the things I want to get done before I leave get done, and that means I have to take things off my plate. That means I am going to readjust Stan DaCosta's duties. We are going to hire a director-level dining services, food service managed beverage, however you want to be. It's a new position. It will take care of all of dining. That will be the person who's responsible for dining. Like I said, this is not a slap on Stan, so don't even think that. Stan's plate is full, and how he's been able to do it is beyond me. And besides, I have other things I want to put on his plate. How's that for a food analogy? There are other things that I need to do, so I need to offload some of the things that I'm currently doing. So one of them will be the chat. I'll still do them periodically, but at the end of the day, you might have somebody else doing, a different director doing the chat on any particular day. Other items is dining. The dining director will have a seat at the leadership table, which is, we meet on Thursday mornings, and that person will have direct input to the entire team. Won't focus through. What am I going to do with Stan? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add, it's more title. His title is not going to change, but his duty is we have an administrator for just about everything else. We're going to have an administrator for independent living. We have well over 660 residents on campus that are independent living. You have a lot of questions. You guys ask a lot of questions, and that's cool. I like that. That helps me prepare this. Those duties will fall to Stan. So, are we done? No, but that's what we've reshifted and realigned right now. Now, when is this going to go in? I'm just giving you the heads up. We're going to do this over a period of time. We just started recruiting for a director of dining services. We're going to take our time. We're going to do it right. We're going to try to get the best available candidate that we can. And then Stan's going to train him. Stan's done the job. Stan knows the job. And then, so our goal is by the first of the year, we're going to have more of these things adjusted. I don't want there to be rumor or hearsay. You heard it directly from the horse's mouth. Fair enough? Now, there's a lot of things that are up in the air. Who's going to do what? How are they going to do it? Right now, we're going to kind of continue it, but when I come to a meeting, if I'm meeting with you, I may bring somebody else with me. I know how to do that portion, and I have other things I need to focus my efforts on. It is not anything anybody has done. I look at what's ahead of me, and I need to make some adjustments. Now, the board of directors is well aware of this. So they know what's kind of going on, and they have supported it. It's called all part of succession planning. If you didn't know, right now we're working with Michael to take my position when I leave. That is in less than 6 years. I have to stuff a lot of knowledge in Michael's head to make that all happen. And it's not going to happen overnight. Fair enough? That being said, questions?
This is not really a question, but we always are saying bad things about Centrix. And I want to commend Jesse, who has been on property now, and he follows up. You put something in, he follows up with you and gets it done. So I think that Centrix deserves a word of applause for doing what they said they were going to do.
I just have a question. I noticed that we recently switched our lawn service company,
Okay.
and they're doing a great job fertilizing because the weeds are growing like crazy. Are they doing anything for weed mitigation? When you walk around the Silverstone Lake or whatever, the pond or lake, all you see is weeds.
Uh-huh. We did switch that company. And we had a discussion yesterday about how disappointing they were. So, yeah, we've watched it closely, and I have that, on a personal note, I have that same company at home, and they failed there too. So, yeah, we may be going back and revisiting that. Yes,
Have we rehired, or do we have a full board of directors now?
that is a great question. Thank you for reminding me. Do we have a full board of directors? No. The reason I say that is that the last 2 months have been hot and heavy with interviewing board members. We have added 3 new board members, so now our board is up to 8. A full board is, according to the previous bylaws, is 9. Now, bylaws say anywhere between 3 and 15 board members. They have 8, but they're going to run with 8 for a while. So that's why are they technically full? No, but for them, it's a full board. And hopefully they will come in September, so you'll be able to meet them. As a way to help you understand the board members, at each one of those meetings, we're going to just do probably a quick brief bio on 1 or 2 of them, so you can get to know them. I'm thinking, I was told 1, but I'm thinking 2, so you can get to know them a little bit quicker, because there are 3 new ones, plus the existing members. No, their pictures aren't there yet. Nope.
Hi, I have a question about the,
There's only 1 question per resident.
you said that.
I'll ask her for.
Last year, when, this is about the budget, and I know that that's really, you're going to present it at the next meeting, but last year, we had to be self-insured for the hurricanes because our premium would have been too high, because the roof claim was open, but the roof claim isn't open anymore. Is that going to change?
That's a great question. Well, we were able to get full coverage for Valencia Landing because that was all new construction. The others were portion. And it has been over 5 years for the roof claims, so those would fall off. So the answer to your question is yes, we believe it'll be interesting. Now, what would you refer as full coverage? The campus has got a value, $120 million. Do we really need to have an insured value of $120 million? No. I believe right now it's probably 15. And then with the deductible, it takes it up to maybe 18. So we're going to balance that out. Because after a certain point, it's just throwing good money after bad money.
All right, and it's a follow-up to that. When no, it's the same question extended.
Oh, Part B.
When do you anticipate destruction of the cottages, the tear down of the cottages that are going to get torn down?
I would anticipate that we would, by January 1st. Okay? That's probably good. Reason being is we have received some funds for some of those units, and the claim was just handed off to somebody new, and I haven't had an opportunity to meet with them this week, obviously because we've been in the middle of budgets and then meeting with the board. So by January 1, sooner if I can. Anything else? Answer.
Joe, this retirement operation is singular and it has no debt. And a lot of people come here, and I think everybody here agrees that we have the best management. And you said that you are selecting people from the board. You're picking them for their specific capabilities, experience, education, so that they will collectively be a good support and also reduce the liability, because it will be that kind of decisions. It's not on one person, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to bring up the fact that a lot of us don't feel like we're going into Majestic Oaks tomorrow. And we would like to, a lot of us would like to, we have done things. For example, I want to thank you very much for that letter you gave me regarding the storm, the flooding work that we did. And as a retired Army person, I would like to say, this is where I'm getting to the point here. The Army trains people in MOS and spends a lot of money in some cases, and then when they get to their station, they put them in some other thing. Now, I've noticed on this residence council that, for example, one committee has an awful lot of function. I want to bring this up here because I don't know any other way to bring it up. One committee is the smallest committee, there's the least amount of people. It's had in its own notes that it needs to do a better job of informing the people about it. And a lot of these committees, there's 80 people that came to John Knox Village last year. And a lot of them in your literature say, and encourages us to join and get on the residence council. But you only put 3 or 4 people on a year, don't you?
See, the issue being, I have no control over resident
Well,
council.
who
That is, those questions, that issue really needs to be directed to the president of resident council or the vice president of resident council. As far as the function, as far as the composition, as far as the committees, anything to do with resident council other than us working hand in hand, I don't have anything to do with resident council. That is a resident-driven and a resident-run issue.
So the existing resident council, apparently they feel very good, that they could only need 3 or 4 people when your own literature encourages everybody that can get on that residence council and to contribute. And the fact is that a lot of these people, and I want to finish this off if you don't mind, a lot of these people don't necessarily have the best knowledge from what I've read about them for the particular committee they've gotten assigned. I would never want to go on food services or anything like that. So I think that the residence council needs to be looked at as far as people who would want to contribute. I contribute myself, as some of these people know, and I do it all by myself. And I shouldn't have to because we're paying for this to be done. But a lot of us feel and are very interested in our community, in our bucket list years, and we want to actually see and keep active, like you say, moving around. And as far as I'm concerned, I just find it very troubling that the residence council, you get 3 or 4 people and they get thrown on a committee, and that doesn't mean you get the best. We have the best management here. You're going to get the best board of directors when you get it done, and I don't understand why the residence council shouldn't, the rules and how to get on and allowing more people to be on should not be changed.
Bill, you asked me the question, I gave you an answer, you didn't like the answer. I'm sorry, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
All
I
right.
took a vote on that, Joe, and saw how many people realized that would like to be here, that would like to be active on this committee, and could show that they have the best credentials compared to other people on that committee. That whether they should not, I will continue to contribute to this community, but I won't be on the committee, it looks like.
Oh, well, I was at home and I ran over because I just have to ask you, it seems like one of the things that never gets brought up is the improvement of the pit area in front of where the clinic now is, and also the halls. But you know, yesterday I work in the gift shop, and I went out in the hall, and I was standing there talking to someone, and really, honestly, those plants look terrible. And I have so many friends that have said, when are we going to make this place look more modern? Because I don't know why anyone would take anyone in there to show them John Knox Village in that area, because it looks like 40 years ago, and the carpet's stained, the plants are so old and ugly. Please, Joe, let us know when you're going to do something to fix that up.
Great question. All right. As you know, the apartment hallways, the project for the apartment hallways was improved. However, there was a miscommunication specifically on the common areas, the pit area, one outside the clinic currently, and going down the hallways. So I just had this conversation. I'm waiting for Mark to get 2 bids. He's got 1. He needs to put together, which includes the pit area because he overlooked that. What I'll do is I'm going to create 2 new projects. I'm going to kind of blend them, but they're going to be split. It'll be the Crane's dining room will be one, and then the rest of the common areas will be the other. We anticipate, I'm going to say, few weeks, maybe to get those in. And my goal is to get those in front of the board when we meet on the 16th for approval. The apartment hallways we can start moving forward on. The common area, the pit, other areas I don't have approval on that because that was an oversight. So when will it be done? I'm going to guess, I don't have the time framing, but after the first of the year, the hallways will start before then, but the pit area will probably be after the first of the year. I know, I hear you. I've been given priorities too. So. But I didn't forget about it.
This may be a stupid question, but who is Michael that you're turning over your job to?
Michael, stand up. You can't miss him. That is Michael Buxton. He used to play football at UCF. You can guess, right? Offensive line. He's a big boy, so you can't miss him. So when we hand it off, Michael is the one who has been designated right now in our succession plan. Okay?
Do you have any particular plans, if we do have another Milton, we don't expect to have one for a few years, but do you have anything more specific that you read from the last one?
Yeah. One, Orange City was no help. If we have water again, and if we get as much water as we got there, for the most part, we think we're going to be okay because almost outside of maybe 1 or 2 that were affected by Milton, everything else has already been designated, taken offline, and will be removed. So that includes around the Floribunda Pond, that includes 7, 8, 9 North Lake. Those will be removed. And why? Because guess where we're putting that swale? We're putting that swale in the back of eucalyptus, so it's going to come right across the street to go into the lake. And we don't want the resident to have to open their door this time to let it go through.
At Fountain Lake, also, there's a culvert under the sidewalk, and that drains into the marsh on the other side where the judge goes court. And another possibility would be to consider looking forward to some flooding by simply using pumps prior to a flood. Of course, they never get it right about how many hurricanes or what's going to happen or where they're going. But the bottom line is, if you did have something where you could drain down the water prior to a hurricane as low as you could, that would also be a kind of
And we have that capacity to be able to do that. Now, since you've now taken me into territory I didn't want to go into, as when we met with the board for long-range planning, we looked at a plan that helps reposition our community. What does that mean? We need to stay in existence for another 50 years for people who need care and services of a community like ours. We think we do it better than just about anybody. And that being said, we know that our infrastructure is aged and we need to fix it. In some cases, we need to replace it. So that is what my focus is going to be for the rest of a good portion of the rest of my tenure. What does that mean? You'll have to stay tuned. But one of the issues is that we have engaged a far bigger company than what we have used in the past to work on our flood issue. And I'll tell you, the name of the company is Kimley Horn. They are enormous. They've done this. They came on a recommendation. And we're not just focused on the area of Floribunda Pond. We're focused on the entire community. We don't want to have to relocate another resident. It's inconvenience for you. It's bad for us. And while we make the best of a bad situation, let's see if we can make the bad situation completely go away. So the bigger picture is far more intensive, far more expansive than just the Floribunda Pond and anything they might be doing in Orange City. Now, Orange City has made all kinds of promises and commitments, but I also know that their city manager is resigning, and so they're going to be looking for a new manager. And that's not something somebody's going to pick up that ball tomorrow and say, hey, I'm ready to roll. And it's going to take them a while to feel comfortable in that position. We don't have that kind of time. So there are a number of things that we have planned. Hopefully in the next couple of months, few months, I'll be able to share more with you and what we have planned. It's pretty exciting, and it helps position us for the next 50 years. All right? Yes? This is number 3. No, this is number 4. That one, no, just because you counted as a 2-part question makes it a question. All right, what's your other question?
Do we have to call and ask for sandbags, or are they automatically?
You know, to be on the safe side, if you don't normally get them, call.
We still have them from last time, but they're not in any kind of right position.
Yeah. Call. All right? Yep.
Given that you've got a extremely good, you've retained 2 engineering firms, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
And you have very good whole CFO people. A question I have is, if this property is aging, how old are most of these cottages? Forget about anything that these cottages. So how old are they?
I think they're like 50 years old.
72, the first cottage. 78 was the apartment.
Okay, they're 50 now, and they'll be 50 more years. So the cost of renovating them, then the infrastructure around them, and then of course, more and more people are coming.
I'm gonna stop you there. Right now, you made a presumption that isn't accurate.
Okay. What is it?
The presumption is that we're going to keep all the cottages in place for another 50 years.
Okay. Well, that would make sense because you don't keep them.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Hurricanes would take them down very quick, maybe.
All right. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.